Great talk. The Film Cynics on C-FAX 1070.
Welcome back to the Film Cynics. Steve and Brian sitting in, reviewing movies in just a minute. But we've had a very healthy discussion, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. We'd like to thank the people who decided to call us. But now we're going to slide right in. We were talking a little bit about great directors and great movies. We got a great DVD to review.
Who wants a DVD review?
Oh, I do. I want one. Brian, thank you for creating that. I think that's awesome. We're this week we're reviewing The Hurt Locker, directed by Catherine Bigelow. Yes. It comes out on DVD and Blu-ray on this Tuesday. It is arguably, by many, the best movie of the year.
Definitely one of the best movies of the year.
So, okay, this movie is all about bomb diffusing unit in Iraq.
The EOD?
Yes. And it stars Jeremy Renner as hotshot, hot dog, bomb.
Play by your own rules, bomb disposal guy.
Yeah. It's high tension, a lot of dialogue, not a lot of action. Although there are parts that do have some, but it's more of a think piece.
Yeah, it is totally. It's not your typical action movie. It's got really great character development, really great dialogue. It's really real to how they actually speak in the Iraq War. I was listening to the director's commentary by the director and the writer was embedded in Iraq with a bomb disposal unit for an extended amount of time. So when he came back to tell this story and he wrote this movie, he tried to get it as true as possible. And he was saying, like, this is exactly what happened, and this is exactly what this happened. And so the realism in this movie is kind of incredible when you take a step out of it and you look at it through the eyes of the director.
Well, there was a lot. I mean, there was a lot of detail in there. It was definitely a procedural.
Yeah.
Most people are familiar with the police procedural, but this was definitely a military procedural, talking about all kinds of things. The stuff about shockwaves from bombs. I mean, if movies have done anything over the past 100 years, they've convinced people that anybody can survive an explosion so long as they're running away from it, right? Because somebody's running away and the thing explodes behind them and they get thrown in the air and they scream maybe and then they get up and they dust themselves off and run away. But that's not what happened.
No, the shockwave from the blast is what gets you.
Yeah.
The flying debris might do some residual damage, but the amount of air that is being moved by these explosions is enough to kill a human being, because what it does is it pushes all the air around it out and away. So any air that you have in your body gets expelled from your body, and you end up dying.
Yeah.
So that's why 300 people die when a bomb goes off in a market. It's not because they're getting hit by bricks and glass. It's because of the concussion of the explosion is that intense. And this movie teaches you that. Like, you learn a lot. What I really enjoyed about this is that you try and compare, like, people say, it's one of the best war movies ever. Then you can go, well, no, it's not, because there's Platoon and there's Band of Brothers and all this other stuff. But this movie is relevant. This is happening right now. We are losing soldiers in Afghanistan to these devices.
Right.
So when you watch this movie, these are guys that we know, not personally, but that are active in our military and in the U.S. military, that are out there disposing of these bombs so people that we know don't get killed.
Right.
Which makes it a little bit more real, because it's not like history. It's not like you're watching a Vietnam War movie and it's all kind of glorified or not glorified, or it's a retelling. Like, this is the truth. This is what's happening.
Well, see, that's a very important distinction, because I came out of this movie. I'm going to say it right now. I was disappointed. It couldn't have gone in more hypes, right? There was just so much hype going in, and I came out of it after having read the little tag on the box saying the greatest war movie of all time. I finished watching. It had three on the tip of my tongue right when I was done. And I got them right here. Yeah, Full Metal Jacket, Saving Private Ryan, Deer Hunter. Way better war movies. This is not, it's not great, it is relevant, and that is the most important thing. Is as far as this is like the wars that these movies I just named are talking about, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So the war that the Hurt Locker is talking about, that's the new warfare.
Yeah, exactly.
This sort of
what it does, though, it really shows you what these guys are going through, and the complete randomness of it all. Like, in prior wars, there was sort of the order of war, like in World War II, each side fought, you had rules. There were rules to war.
Rules of engagement, yes.
But here, it just seems to be that all the rules are thrown out the window. You don't know who the bad guys are or the good guys are. The bombs show up in a million different places, in a million different styles. They're haphazardly created. So even if you are diffusing it, quote-unquote, properly...
yeah, it probably wasn't put together properly.
Exactly, because it's just done by these insurgents and these rebels, so there's really no order to it. So you got to just go in there and kind of be a cowboy and attack it as best you can and try and save as many lives as you can. And you really have to appreciate... during the director's commentary, Catherine Bigelow, who's the director, made the comment of saying, this is a volunteer army. So
Right.
anyone that's doing this is volunteering to do it on their own. So it's a really unique type of individual that'll take it upon themselves to go into Iraq in 120-degree heat, put on an 80-pound Kevlar bomb suit with a helmet, and then march towards a bomb and try and defuse it.
Well, now you raise another very important part, and it's essential to the way the movie is told, and the message it's trying to send is war is a drug. Yeah. So these guys, I mean, especially the main character, Jeremy Renner, is obviously a junkie for war. He can't help himself. He gets so... He's so, well, I guess reckless is probably not exactly the best word to describe it, but he acts reckless compared to some of the other people that you would have met in the film. But, I mean, that being said, I found that for a guy who's already done, like he's done basically a full tour, he's very experienced, he's defused, 300 or so bombs, something apparently? Like but he goes a little cuckoo bananas towards about halfway to three-quarters of the way through the movie. A few things happen. I don't really want to give them away because, I mean, people really should see this film. But he goes a little bit unhinged for a while, and I thought that was out of character for a guy who has been so into what's been going on.
Fair enough. I think that's the one part of the movie that I didn't really care for, was the whole turn that he takes towards the middle, near the three-quarters of the way, and he kind of goes off on his own as this little renegade thing. I thought that kind of seemed really disjointed to the whole point of the movie, which to me, the point of the movie was this group of guys that defuse bombs, and the toll that takes on you as a human, and just the mental pressure you have to go through when you're in a war zone, having to deal with all this stuff. That's what I really enjoyed about the movie. The whole arc that Jeremy Renner's character took, to me, wasn't the best choice, but it didn't detract from this being a really amazing movie.
Yeah, I mean, it does show a lot of the other aspects. I mean, these guys are bomb disposal guys, but there are other things that happen in the film, including this really cool firefight that happens in the middle of the desert, where Ralph Fiennes shows up out of nowhere. But yeah, so that was very interesting. So these guys are hardcore. I mean, they're real soldiers who are trained in all different aspects.
That's another interesting thing, though. When during the director's commentary, apparently all just bomb disposal guys are trained how to use sniper rifles because it's a method of disposing of a bomb. Is you get really far away from it and you shoot it and it blows up. So there's this whole narrative of them using a sniper rifle, and you're like, well, come on, really? No, really. Bomb disposal guys are really good sniper shots.
I mean, there's a gun that they use in there that I actually recognize. Apparently, it's been outlawed in the United States, but it seems to show up in all these movies. But that giant-sized sniper rifle is just crazy.
Pretty awesome.
Okay, so let's get your impressions. Now you're mentioning a lot of the director's commentary a few times here. So
I really enjoyed the movie. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. I watched it again with the director's commentary. It totally has intrigued me. I'm going to say it's one of my favorite films of the year. It'll be in my top 10. It is definitely a keeper. It is a really compelling story and really relevant to what's going on today. If you're not aware, go check out The Hurt Locker.
Okay, well, there's a keeper right there.
Mega keeper.
Mega keeper. I'm saying that I'm agreeing with you 100% on the relevance. I just can't. It just does not stand up, unfortunately, to some of the greatest war movies of all time.
Don't compare it to the greatest war movies, though.
Richard Corliss or whoever it was that said that.
That was a mistake.
They set it up.
That's a pure mistake. Compare it to movies of this year, it is be in the top 10.
These movie packages aren't come up within a vacuum.
Best war movie of the year.
Fair enough.
There we go.
So I'm giving it a solid renter. So keeper from Brian, renter from Steve. So The Hurt Locker comes out on Tuesday from our friends at Maple Pictures. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to geek out.